Ready?
Yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. This is GenchoMoto and today I really want to show you a Ford Mustang, but unfortunately we haven't got it in real size, so instead I'm going to show you a Fiat Punto Grande. Today we're gonna move into the Italian side of cars and I'm gonna show you Fiat Punto Grande that starts its production in 2005 and ends in 2009. It is been designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro, or as Google says, because I'm not sure if I say it right,
Giorgetto Giugiaro.
and it's a small compact hatchback with 2 or 4 doors, front wheel drive, manual and automatic gearboxes as you would expect. It's sort of cheap and economical. Not so reliable from my experience. Of course everybody has its own opinion. You might have good days with the Puntos. This is the second one that I own, and I do find quite a few issues. Another thing for Fiats, they come with loads of aftermarket parts for the car, so if you're one of them boy racers, you're more than welcome to customize it and do it as you wish. So depending on what's your budget and what do you like to see as customization parts on your car, there is plenty out there. As I said, it's suitable for boys, it's suitable for girls, or for people that just took their driving license. They have different engines from all the different insurance groups, starting as little as 1.2 all the way up to 1.9, which is not exactly fast, but I mean it's a city drive and it's meant to be economical. It's not meant to go and rag it around. So if you decide to go and look at one to buy, I will mention the issues that I've experienced before with them, and maybe it will be good to spend some time on to have a look for them issues and see if the car is actually for you, or this is another way to bring the price down if you really want the car. One thing that I will mention straight away is avoid buying customized ones. You never know what's really been done to them. You never know how they've been driven around, so the best thing to do is just to buy a stock car, and then after that, if you want to modify it yourself. But do not get modified ones, because as I've mentioned already, half the time you don't know what's been done to them at all. One of the first problems I found straight away with both of my Puntos that I've owned, it is the rear bonnet. You would have expected to have like a button here or maybe here underneath, but no, it doesn't, unfortunately, and it only opens with a key fob, or from inside we have a button just on the central steering console. Right, so when you press it, that is meant to pop up a little bit and then you can open the boot from there. A lot of the times the locks on them, the motors of the locks, they fail, so you end up having to replace it. Don't worry if this ends up locked, because all you have to do is, if it's a 2-door one, pull that handle so you can bring the seat up and then you get inside the car. If it's the 4-door one, it's obviously a lot more easier. Then once you get inside your car, you should have them 2 buttons here which you can press, so you can have your seats down. As you can see, this one has problem with that lock already. I did check them with the multimeter already to see if the wiring's alright. So next step is to buy just the lock or the latch, however you want to call it. You can get them from the main dealer. They're same price, about £20, so pretty much same price on eBay. In fact, on eBay there is a lot more expensive ones. Anyway, let me show you how to open it if you run into this problem. So once you get into the boot, there should be a little button here just underneath that you press, and the bonnet will pop open, and I will show you better from a better view. So it's that little bonnet button here that you want to look for. As soon as you press it, this will unleash the latch, and then you've got a little screw here that you have to take off so you can take the panel. Then 10mm bolts that you unscrew, and this will pop open, and you can take this from behind. I do need to fix that one, but I haven't had the time. I'm halfway there. I ordered the latch already. Next thing that you want to look for is clutches. They're horrible, and sometimes they can lead to gearbox damage. Like if you have bad noises, rattles or grinding from second or third gear or the reverse gear, that indicates a future problem if it's not already. Feel the clutch because they're worn out quite quick, and if you get the diesel ones and you decide to remap them, you should look straight away for a better clutch, because these ones, they don't hold as long. Another thing you want to look for when you go to buy one is check if the wipers are working. They have weak linkages, so a lot of the times this is a common issue. They can fail, you end up having to change them. If you can't do it yourself, it might cost you a little bit. Going backwards and forward around the car, let's go again at the back. When you go for a test drive, always try to hear out from any knocks coming down from the back. A lot of the time suspension bushes are weak, and they cause that knock. You can either try to lubricate them, but if they're damaged already, you're gonna have to replace them straight away. Personally, again, you don't have to listen to me, but personally I would avoid buying a car with that sort of knocks. I just cannot be bothered. At the end of the day, everyone wants to just go and buy a decent, reliable car, just pay the cash and then drive without worrying that it needs to spend time in the garages straight away. You don't really want to deal with garages unless the car is dirt cheap, you are mechanically minded and you're willing to fix it and you reckon it's going to be a little bit cheaper. Going in the front of the car again, oops, sorry. Bonnet latches in the front. A lot of the times they leak from the rocker cover gaskets, and also if you have engine management light on, this can be either indication of faulty ECU, or a lot of the times they fail on lambda sensors and water temperature sensors, so it's best to plug it on the diagnostics and actually see what's what. What I've also experienced is blocked heater matrix, which is that little radiator inside underneath the dashboard. Once this gets blocked, you don't really have heating at all, so that needs replacing. And the steering racks sometimes fail, they start to leak, and then they end up completely dead if you don't do anything on time. And as we've opened the engine now, we're going to talk a little bit more about the engine. So as you can see, this is proper customized. Like this here, 4 bars, can you imagine the actual pressure in this hose, and that big air filter, that must give good 30-40 horsepower, and with the stickers on top we're looking about 230 horsepower. Of course I'm kidding, avoid these sort of mods. They don't, I mean, just look at how poorly it's been fitted. I'm gonna put this back. A lot of the times these sort of cold air intakes, especially Chinese ones, they won't give you any horsepower, especially on a 1.4, 1.2, and them little engines naturally aspirated. You won't expect much. It's most of the times waste of money, and as you can see, it actually looks ugly. The old owner didn't even bother to fit it right. I bet it's actually leaking as well. So my advice is just keep it stock. Of course it does have slightly better sound, but I wouldn't take off the whole system. I mean, if you really want to have that sound from the sports air filter, chuck one, but as I said already, it is a waste of money personally. What is that pipe for? Fucking hell. You see, this is why you should avoid buying customized cars. As I said, for example, I don't know what's this for, so I will have to investigate it. I will have to sort this because it's not been fitted properly. And by the way, instead of more power, this can give you more fuel consumption instead, so you don't really gain, you actually lose. Another thing that you want to look for with them Fiats, if they've not been maintained properly, they're going to overheat. So check if you have coolant or if there is signage of oil in the coolant. If it doesn't, that's always a good thing. And as we're here already with the engines, I want to say which ones are okay, which ones are not, and what we actually got here. Starting with the smallest ones of the petrol engines, we have the 1.265 brake horsepower with a 5-speed manual, and then we have the 1.4 77 brake horsepower with 5-speed manual or the 5-speed automatic dual logic. I will be honest with you, I don't really know anything about this automatic transmission. It's gonna be better for you to just Google it and read more about it. I haven't really bothered to have a look or read about it, so I'll let this part for you. And then we have the 1.4 95 brake horsepower with 6-speed manual, and that's how you can tell the difference between the horsepowers when you go and look at a 1.4 petrol. If it's the 5-speed manual, it's the 77 brake horsepower. If it's the 6-speed manual, then obviously you know it's the 95 brake horsepower. And the most powerful of the petrol engines is the 1.4 T-Jet 120 brake horsepower with 5-speed manual. This is, as I said, turbo engine. It is fast, it's okay. After a remap, it's even faster because the car is light, so you don't need ridiculous horsepower to actually feel it. 120 brake horsepower are plenty of enough for a city car. Moving to the diesel engines, we have the smallest one, which is the 1.3 multi-jet. It is a turbo diesel engine, 75 brake horsepower with 5-speed manual. And then we have the 1.3 multi-jet with 90 brake horsepower that comes with 6-speed manual or the 6 speeds automatic dual logic gearbox. Next on the list is the 1.6 multi-jet with 120 brake horsepower and 6-speed manual. We don't have automatic gearboxes from 1.6 and above. Then it's the 1.9 multi-jet with 6-speed manual, again 120 brake horsepower. There is no difference in the horsepower at all. And then we have the 1.9 sport multi-jet, which produces extra 10 brake horsepower on top of the normal one. Again, they're all 6 speeds manual. The most economical and reliable one is the 1.6 diesel with the 120 brake horsepower. It is as fast as the 1.9, but it gives 10 miles per gallon more on the motorway, and it is a little bit more economical in down drive. For the petrol engines, I would go for the turbo one, which is the 1.4 120 brake horsepower T-Jet. It is just because it has a bit more torque. It is faster than the 1.9 diesel, and you can feel the car. So if you want to, or you want something little and nippy, the petrol engine is probably the best, because the insurance group on it is not that high. Everyone has different opinions about the petrols and diesels. Some are fans of the diesels, some are fans of the petrol ones, so it's really up to you. But as I said already, from the diesel ones, 1.6 is probably the most reliable and economical, and it's going to be the best option. Again, it's cheaper to insure than the 1.9. And from petrol engines, 1.4 95 brake horsepower, which is this engine in this car, or the 1.4 120 horsepower, the turbo, or the 1.4 T-Jet engine if you want to be slightly nippier. Suspension wise, depending on what sort of wheels you drive, like this one is running on 17-inch wheels. It does drive a little bit like a bucket, and it's very stiff. If you want it to be a little bit more comfortable as much as possible, pretty much for a city car, you can go to 15 inches on a slightly thicker tires. But if you want it to look nicely as this one, and you don't care about how the car rides, and if you don't mind the car to ride a little bit more stiffer, you can go for slightly bigger ones like them 17-inch wheels. You can find plenty of aftermarket lowering suspensions, lowering adjustable kits. It's really up to you what you're gonna use the car for. And then do not tint your tail lights with a spray unless you're a professional, or unless you know how to do it, because you want it to be done so it looks cool. But once you mess it up and you get that sort of drips and scratches, it does not look cool. It looks actually a lot more horrible than the stock tail light. So if you're gonna try for first time, best thing about it, the best thing you can do is probably try with tail lights tint film. It's easy, and if you don't like it, you can always remove it. And when you're selling the car, if you want to get it into stock standards, again, it's a lot more easier to remove it. Once you do the tinting spray, it's not coming off. So avoid this unless you know how to do it. You know you're gonna keep them there permanently. This one has a cherry bomb exhaust. It doesn't sound as horrible as I would thought it will be when I first went to buy it. But the thing is, this is not straight pipe. Do not straight pipe them little 1.4s or 1.2s. You're not gonna gain any power, as I said already. You're just gonna make the car sounding horrible, and when you pass the streets, everyone's gonna look at you, but not because you have a cool car. They're gonna look at you because you sound like a proper tractor. No offense to anyone that's watching the video, this is only my opinion. So you're more than welcome to give us any feedbacks in the comment down below. And now let's move to the interior of the car. Damn it! I've got to put it back. Being inside of the car already, it's not exactly spacious, but it's a good sized car for a hatchback. It's comfortable, and what I've noticed with them Puntos is the trims on the dashboard are usually matching the color of the seats, like them ones here. With them trims, by the way, they're similar to the Fiat 500, and they're the beginning actually of the Fiat 500 trims. It's actually quite nice and stylish. Unfortunately, because they've aimed to do a cheap car, the plastics, as usual on them little Puntos, especially the media plastics, they're peeling really easy. But nowadays, to buy a Bluetooth CD player, it's very cheap. So it is much cheaper to, if you don't like it, just to replace it with an aftermarket radio. Controls, they're nice and bulky, very easy accessible. Some of them comes with a little LCD display here for the climate control. Some of them just have AC, and this one unfortunately doesn't have any extras about the basic ones, which are power control wing mirrors and then power control windows. Sometimes the power control window motors here, the window regulators are failing, so you end up having to replace them. Another thing that loves to break in them interiors is the glove box latch. This one, as you can see, is already broken. You can still, if you take it out, you can still press that little lever here. That's gonna drop the glove box. You can see I already bought a bonnet latch, but it turns out to be broken. That's what happens when you buy second-hand bolts from eBay. And it has a good size glove box. You also have Windows Mobile, which I didn't really read a lot about it, but you have two USB ports here and here. I take it there for the media, so you can actually listen to music with the flash drive. I haven't tried it yet. I will read more about it. It definitely doesn't have a computer or a laptop fit inside. I do wonder what's this though. Let's put everything back together. We do have 6 speakers inside the car, 2 at each side on the front doors and 2 at the back of the car. The 4-door model is exactly the same. Original speakers, they're not that bad, they do sound alright. And a cool feature from Fiat is that little button here. When you press it, there's a light on your dashboard that should say city mode. And I'll show you what it does. So activating the city mode, it makes the steering so light that you can actually turn it with only one finger. That's made for the people so they can park easy, or they can turn easy. this automatically turns off after you reach 50 miles or more. Then we do have the central locking button here and the hazard lights button, which is super easy accessible. And we have multifunctional steering wheel. I assume that's for the flash drive or and changing the medias, and we can adjust the sound of the media from the steering wheel. And then on this side of the dashboard we do have this little button, which is the menu, where you can change your time. You can also set it up to beep after you reach a speed limit for something. Obviously trip data, it's like a board computer basically, and you can do some other features like auto close, so it's basically locking the doors once you start the car and reach 5 miles an hour. If you exit the menu with the plus and the minus, you can actually adjust the brightness of your dashboard. With them buttons you can electronically adjust the height of the headlights, and of course these buttons are for the fog lights. From here you control your wind mirrors like most of cars really, just pressing them buttons. Another cool feature of this little hatchback is that it has seat height adjusting, so you can, not many hatchbacks have this, but you can actually adjust the seats from a lever which is on your right hand side. And also the steering wheel you can adjust up, down, and obviously forwards and backwards, which is quite comfy, and depending on your height you can basically readjust it. And now let's go to the back and see how the two-door one feels at the back. To get to the back we have two levers on each side, which we just press, and then you push the seat back in, and the seat goes forward. And let's check this. The size of the back is alright. It's probably perfect for 4 people. It's gonna be tight if 3 people are trying to sit at the back, but 2 people is literally perfect for. So I would say it's more like a 4 people's car instead of a 5 people's car. You do not have extras like armrests or whatsoever, but on the end of the day it's a cheap economical car, so you wouldn't expect many extras. So now I'm gonna get out of here and then we'll go for a drive. Seatbelts on and let's go for a drive. This one is the 6-speed manual, so I'm expecting it on the motorway to be well economical. Just take my jacket. Being inside of the car driving it feels very noisy, but it is a cheap little car, so you can't really expect much more about it. City mode, it is great. It really helps in roundabouts, cornering or parking, so that will be a good feature for a learner driver. Clutch pedal is a bit sticky, I have to say, but this was the same with my previous Punto, so I would just assume this is how they are. But in fact gears are going in quite nice. It shifts through all gears, and it actually pulls on 3rd gear, which is pretty okay for a 1.4. Everything is very easy accessible while you drive, and there is no lights that can take off your attention from the road. Then we have the sun visors, which again are very easy accessible. Front windscreen is big, so you have a nice view. Them little windows here, I don't know what they made for, because you cannot see anything from them. I would assume they're just for the design. All in total, I would say it's alright for the money. Which brings me to the next thing in my mind, is that they go from £500 all the way up to 3 grand in some dealerships. I would say this is a rip-off for such a car, but in good condition and low mileage you can probably find them for around grand 300-400 pounds. Anything under that you expect issues in. I would say when you're going to see one of them, look for one with low mileage and service history, of course you're gonna pay more money, but chances you're gonna get a better car are obviously higher than getting something that's 120k. But if your budget is not enough, of course you can always go and have a look at something with higher mileage. Of course, when you're going to look at a car with no service history, use your common sense to find out if the car is well maintained. That is for today. Thanks for watching. If you do enjoy what we do, please hit the like button, put a comment below and subscribe for more cool videos, because that's how you help us grow. Have a good day.